Blog Talk Radio.
Well, I bet you all are surprised that I'm back on the radio, aren't you? Hello, everybody. As you all know, if you follow me on social media, which I'm guessing about 10 or 12 of you don't at this rate, you know that I just got back from New York City. You know that I just completed my 5-day film festival. I'm sure you can imagine I'm a little tired. I am. I just completed, I want to say probably 20-some interviews just last week. And here I am doing back-to-back interviews with more New York City people. But if you follow my show, you already know that New York City folks are among my very favorites. I just want to do a couple quick announcements before I get Rachel on the line. I don't want to keep her holding too long. God knows she's been patient with this interview. First and foremost, I want to say to anyone that's listening that participated in the film festival, I had some reservations this year. You know, when you do something 4 years in a row, you start to wonder, am I losing it? Is it still okay? Are things well? And I'm proud to say that I've gotten some wonderful compliments and hugely words that I cherish from people that I respect quite a bit. So if any of you are listening in that came to the festival this year that helped to support it in any manner, shape, or form, my hat's off to you. I truly cannot thank you enough for being part of this year's experience. We're so very blessed to have so many filmmakers come out. Once again, the programming was top-notch. Once again, we've got some actors that have been cast. We've got filmmakers that are going to be working together. It's such a hugely exciting experience for me to watch all of this come to light. So I'm thrilled. Again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your films. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you just for showing up. It just means so much. So what does that mean? I guess that means I'm headed to Tennessee, August 22nd, to those folks that are located close to the Knoxville area. If you've been watching my feed, you already know that I am headed to Tennessee to the drive-in on August 22nd. I am so blessed that one of the drive-in theater owners this year has consented to allow me to show independent film for one night, from 9:30 to 1:30 at the Parkway Drive-In, and that's close to Knoxville, Tennessee, 9:30 to 1:30 on August 22nd. Please come and see me if you get an opportunity. I cannot wait to get that done. Obviously, still casting for, yeah, that's right, it seems like it's never going to die, right? 100 Looks of Love, my film. Very excited about it. I'm finally starting to get some momentum, if nothing else, just to get it done. We're going to be shooting hopefully within the next month here in Wisconsin, finishing that off. Then we'll round it off and get to New York City and finish there. So if you're interested, age bracket 38 to 55, 2 males, 2 females, could be union or non-union in New York City. So if interested, please let me know. Also, on the other side of the fence, want to mention a lifesaver, as you all know, is in the editing room as we speak, so God willing. That'll get done sooner than later. Obviously, I'm back on air starting next week. These are my 2 shows for the week, and then next week I'm on the air 3 times, and then 3 times thereafter consecutively. So back to a regular radio show. The only other thing to really promote besides the 800 things I'm working on is Sin TV. I'm actually getting serious about launching my streaming network. Look for that before Christmas. I want to say the end of November, just in time for Christmas. So if you have any content on the music side, on the indie film side, children's programming, talk shows, you name it, I'm interested. Please email me directly, CIN4251 at gmail.com. Otherwise, look for me on social media. I think I have a couple spots left. Cindy, the last name is Mich. Get a hold of me there. Get a hold of me on email. Just get a hold of me and let me know your thoughts. So without further ado, you don't want to listen to me. You want to listen to the beautiful, young, and talented Rachel Norman. So let's get her on the line and start talking. Rachel.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm good. It's so great to be speaking with you.
Oh, my gosh. I'm just so excited and nervous all at the same time. First of all, my apologies to you. I feel like we just couldn't get – I feel so bad. I'm like, oh, my gosh, we keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. But we're both here at the same time, so that's quite exciting.
No worries. Yes,
so I appreciate it.
I'm so happy we finally found a time.
Oh, no kidding, right? And you're so young and so pretty. Oh, my gosh, you're like my daughter's age. You're actually younger than my daughter, to tell you the truth. You're cute and you're young and you're in New York City. So it's like I have so many questions to ask you. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the most recent thing that happened, because I know you had just performed at the Delancey, actually, as a matter of fact, on the 2nd. So I missed you because I was at my film festival. So how did the performance go?
It was so much fun. It was definitely the biggest show that I've ever done. And so it was very successful. And, you know, with shows, I always I expect that my, close friends and family are going to be there. And so anyone else who comes is always such a bonus. And so, yeah, I was really happy about it. And I think it was the first time that people were singing along with me, and that definitely threw me off guard because it started to make me laugh because that's never happened to me before, and so that was a really pleasant surprise.
Oh, how lovely is that? That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is when people start recognizing and noticing you, it's I can only imagine it's somewhat of a surreal feel, meaning that first of all you're thinking, is anybody listening? Is anybody going to like this? And then all of a sudden, all these people are embracing it. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Scary in a good way, I mean.
Absolutely, it's scary. It's definitely a mix of emotions when people, and I'm definitely still starting out and in a very developmental phase. Even people being like, oh, I saw you on Instagram and I really liked the things that you were posting. It starts at the smaller levels, and so, because music is so easily accessible now with streaming platforms, it's really fun when like my friend's cousin, like I meet them for the first time and they're like, oh, I already listened to your whole album, and I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you, that is so sweet of you. So yeah, I'm still kind of experiencing that in the smaller forms.
Oh, I bet. And of course, obviously, you're young, so clearly you're not like the average, 20-year-old or like I should say 20-year-old, 40-year-old musician who's been around for a while. So you're still kind of getting your own identity. You're still trying to figure out what you're doing, where you're going, things like that. I understand you're a recent college graduate, as a matter of fact, as of this year from Mullenberg College. You've got a BA in theater. So talk to me a bit about theater, because I'm hugely excited about any kind of theater because I'm deep into theater. So you're a graduate now. So now you've got music on one side, you've got acting on one side. So what's the game plan, or are we still figuring it out?
Yeah, so I graduated I think it was 2 months ago. It's very it's a crazy time and a big transitional period. But so since I'm in New York, I'm super fortunate to be able to start auditioning. And so I have recently signed with Take 3 Talent Agency. And so I am, starting out to audition for all kinds of projects, TV, film, commercial voiceover, and all of that. And so I'm so grateful to have that opportunity to put my degree into action for acting. But then also, I of course recently released my EP Resist, and so I am pursuing both music and acting, and they're definitely two very distinct industries. While, of course, there's some crossover in terms of who pursues both. In terms of the means of pursuing these industries, all of the contacts are different, and so I'm still learning so much about the music industry because everyone kind of has their own way to break into it. There's no one way. And so, of course, in any art form, money is just such a huge factor and can kind of make or break some people's path. But so I'm approaching music in a very DIY kind of way because I recently graduated, so I do have to save up my money and eventually move out. But yeah, so I'm pursuing both, and I'm so excited to be able to have both acting and music in my life.
Sure. In fact, I can comment on this because I know not all of my listening audience has heard your music yet. But what I find interesting is you've got this beautiful voice that listening to your voice right now while you're speaking to me, and then listening to you singing, it's almost two different worlds to a certain extent, and people will find that out when I play your music. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But this is what I want to ask this, because on the flip side of the fence, like you're talking about acting. So because it seems as though you have this huge love for music because it resonates through your sound, What intrigues you about being on a theater? And do you want to be on a theater stage, or are you thinking more along the lines of maybe film of some sort?
Yeah, that is a question that I have been thinking about a lot with graduation, and I'm in such a developmental phase for both acting and music that I don't take anything off the table. I am open to auditioning for any kind of acting project. My degree is in theater specifically, and so I do come from a theatrical background, but I definitely I'm not super interested in musical theater though. Just because I would rather sing my own material, and so that's something that was a huge realization for me, because when I first got involved in theater growing up, it was musical theater, and I loved it, and I thought that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get a musical theater degree, and I wanted to be on Broadway and all the works. And then I got to college, and it was a regular theater program, not musical theater, and I discovered my love for just straight plays, and I also started creating my own music in college. And I didn't really grow up as like a trained dancer, and I went to my first college school musical audition, and it was the most terrifying experience of my life. That dance call was insane, and I kind of realized that I love theater so much, but instead of putting my energies into musical theater, I would much prefer doing TV, film, or just straight theater. Unfortunately, because of my age range and my type, there are more opportunities for me in the more commercial realm as opposed to theatrical. But I'll always love theater, and it's definitely where I started out.
Well, and the other thing I was thinking about when I was looking at your performance today, because I got to see your music video, I thought, is it not correct to say that oftentimes when I talk to musicians, the one thing they tell me is it's great preparation for doing stage of any kind, whether you're going to be in film or theater or whatever have you. You're not a stranger to performance, period. So I'm thinking in some ways that's a great preparation for whatever you're going to partake in, whether it's film,
absolutely.
whether it's stage, whatever have you.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I performed at like cabaret type events where you sing cover songs and jazz standards and all of that. But a year ago was the first time that I performed my own original music live, and I kind of had like a mini internal panic because I was like, oh my God, like this is my own music. Like, where do I look? Where do I make eye contact? Like, what are the small technical rules of conduct for this? Because, when you're acting, you're the character. It's not, of course you bring yourself to the character, but it's not you. And I've learned to adapt and love this other kind of performance when doing my own original work, because yes, I'm performing, but I'm performing my own personal story, which is such a different experience. And there's way more like audience engagement, and so that's been really fun to discover.
Oh, I bet, definitely. One of the things that I have noticed is, clearly I know that you're New York City based. When people are in New York, it would seem as though the hub of entertainment, you usually end up going 3 to 4 places. New York and LA are the given. Otherwise, there's like Atlanta or Canada. So is it ever intimidating to you? Because obviously you're in a very big city. I was just there. I work there all the time. I see, there's huge amounts of competition. There's also a huge amount of opportunity. Anything that frightens you, and moreover, anything that you would advise somebody, let's say that they're chasing their star, and that star leads them to New York City, and they're young like you are, what's one thing you had to kind of learn the hard way? That's one thing we like to talk about on my show, is what did you have to learn by lesson?
Right. I think that New York can definitely be intimidating, and I'm so appreciative of my mom, who started teaching me how to navigate the city starting when I was like 16, when I took my voice lessons. And I think that's something that, I'm constantly learning, but I've definitely realized that with music specifically, working with people who you trust. And that might sound kind of simple, but I've now worked with people who I found off the internet, and I researched them, and I had phone meeting consultations with them, and so they seemed really cool, or they were referred through a friend. But then it just wasn't the same as when I got to work with people who I had established trustworthy relationships with. And
right.
you know, when you're pursuing music, it's just so personal and it's so vulnerable, and you're sharing parts of yourself with these people who you might not have known before. And so I'm such a huge advocate and proponent of doing research and finding internships and really immersing yourself in the networking side of the industry, because I think something that I've most learned through experience, and that I encourage anyone who wants to move to New York, is just meet as many people and really get to know them, because, you know, I'm still meeting people. There's, you know, so many different people out there, and there's so many facets of the industry, and I think it's really fulfilling to find success through you know, trustworthy collaborators that oftentimes become your friends, you know, and they're the people who come to your shows, and they're the people who tell their friends about you, and that's really the best way that I've found to go about that.
Well, and I hear you talking about, of course, a lot of the things that you've written about have come from personal experience, and I will know that one of the things that has touched you, of course, is divorce. I myself come from a divorced household myself. And so in the beginning, what was the biggest challenge? Because I'm sure that you learned things or learned how to adjust to this little by little. But in the beginning, what was the hardest challenge in actually sharing parts of yourself with strangers, literally?
That's a good question. It's interesting because, so the intro, I know I've shared before, the intro off Resist, I actually wrote it when I was like 15 years old. And so, I mean, now that feels so long ago. I know I'm still on the younger side. But, I mean, I guess I've, since then, which was when my parents' divorce happened, I've definitely learned how to navigate those emotions a lot healthier, and I've become very open about it, and, you know, just having an awareness of how to deal with it when those feelings come about. And so it was interesting releasing the music on April 26th, because these are songs that have been in my head and in my world for the past 4 years, in terms of like really like developing and producing them. And so I kind of like forgot how personal they were, if that makes sense, because they were just, you know, the songs on my album. And then it was April 26th and they were out there, and I was like, oh man, like people are going to hear that. Like my parents are going to hear that. But I'm also grateful to have very close relationships with both of my parents, and we've definitely come a long way since I was 15. And so it's definitely healing in a way to have people be able to relate to the themes of the album. And also it's a nice reminder to myself for like how far I've come since like drowning in some of those feelings. But it's nice to have been able to turn those kind of darker moments into more celebratory pieces of recovery.
Well, and the other thing, too, is I've often noticed when you write about something or sing about something that's universal in message, has anybody, I would be shocked, have you touched other people, meaning have others come up to you and said, hey, you know, I've experienced divorce, I've experienced this. Have you moved anybody, or has anybody given you feedback that you have made them feel and that you've affected them in some way by your music?
Right, I hope so. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, a lot of my friends have also experienced divorce with their parents or had unstable family situations, and so it's been really nice sharing my songs with them kind of throughout the writing process, because they've definitely talked to me about how they've experienced a similar thing, and I think I'm still in the process of getting my music to a wider audience, and so I'm hoping that people can relate to these experiences and these songs, but I guess I'm still figuring that out.
Of course, and it takes a little while to get all that figured out, certainly. I know one of the things that you've dedicated another portion of your time to, which is quite admirable, is being an intern. And, I think people take for granted nowadays that people still intern because they do, and I think it's such a vital and important thing. It is. It truly is. I'm
No,
like, God,
absolutely.
I had one intern. She was a lifesaver. I mean, interns are lifesavers, folks, and never take them for granted,
They
of course.
are.
I want to ask you.
Being an intern has been, I don't even remember how many internships I've had at this point, but I am such a proponent of it.
Well, my question was, I'm trying to figure out when you have time, first of all, because you're already going to school, you're doing music, you're eventually going to be doing film and theater, and I'm thinking, how does she breathe, let alone have any internships? And moreover, because so many businesses need interns, how did you decide which direction you wanted to go in, meaning who you wanted to intern for?
Right. I'm thinking back to my very first internship, which was when I was 18. I was the intern of my vocal coaching studio, and I started taking voice lessons there. They're really great. New York Vocal Coaching. I'll pitch them always. They were like the first real professional coach and like professional mentors that I worked with. And I started interning with them when I was 18, and in exchange, I got some complimentary voice lessons. So for me, that was priceless. That was everything.
Sure.
And so that's how I started off. And then the summer after my freshman year of college, it was a huge defining summer because it was when I worked on my very first single that I have since taken off the internet just because I've grown a lot since then, and it wasn't super representative of my current sound and musical identity. But when I recorded it, I went to this studio in the city called Threshold Recording Studios, and I met Mike Abiuso, who is the owner and head producer, engineer, musician of Behind the Curtains Media, which is how we were beautifully connected.
Right.
And so it was such an amazing experience. And so he was the producer and engineer of my very first song, and we really worked well together, and it was such a fun working environment. And then the summer ended, and I went back to school, and I was looking for an internship, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I reach out to Mike, because they also have a music marketing sect of the company. And just as an artist, I think that it's so important to learn about every perspective of the creative field that you're going into, because, as a younger woman, it's just so easy to be taken advantage of, and I don't ever want to be put in that kind of position. And so I wanted to gain as many skills as possible. And I mean, also, as an independent artist, the more skills that you don't have just means that you have to pay other people to do them for you.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, why don't I just learn as much as I can so that I could be as self-sufficient as possible, so that when I do want to work with people, it's really a skill that they are a master at, and I have a perspective on, but it's definitely not my trade, per se. And so I interned with Mike and Hannah, who are just incredible. Hannah is the head publicist, and they just took me under their wing, and I learned so much from them. And, I had to work a part-time job in addition to that internship because, you got to make some spending money. But then I think it was that same summer that I interned at access theater. It's kind of all blurring together, but I think that most importantly, I found the balance of interning for both music companies but also theater companies, just because I am pursuing both, and interning at an indie theater company was such a great experience, because like I just said, having so many skills, like you learn to be your own stage manager and producer, and all of the small jobs that you kind of forget about. And when you're pursuing acting, it's like, oh, I want to be an actor. But if you want to put on the play with your friends, who's going to stage manage? Who's going to send out rehearsal schedules? Who's going to direct? So it's been really wonderful learning throughout all of my internships, just all of the different facets of these creative industries and what it takes to be a working artist.
Oh, I betcha. And the other thing, too, this I found funny, folks, that you probably wouldn't know about her by looking at her. Italian and Jewish. Now, there's a heck of a combination. I was like, oh, my God, I've never met a woman who's Italian and Jewish both. I know, and I love my Italians more than I can tell you. Italian and Jewish. Now, that is quite the combination.
I know.
Tell us what it's like to be Italian Jewish, because, frankly, I've never known anyone like this but you. How freaky is that, right?
I'm so honored. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's funny because I'm very outspoken and proud of my Jewish Italian identity. I was an Italian minor at school. I'm really interested in the Italian language and Italian cultural studies. But yeah, it's funny. My Italian side is not Jewish, and my Jewish side is not Italian. But then there's me.
Okay.
So,
right.
But I super indulge in both of those cultural identities. But it's funny. I think it just means that I talk way too much, and way too loud. And I love cooking Italian food, and my grandma, she was like my everything, my muse, and I learned how to make all of her recipes, and so I've become her passed down protege in my family, and so it's definitely a funny combination, and I've been able to meet some other Italian Jews, which I always get so excited about, because we definitely are one in a few.
Yes, I have, and I've also noticed the Italian tendency, of course, use your hands, and they're very, visual and things like that. So it's an interesting dynamic, and I do have a lot of Jewish friends too. So I'm like, that's kind of the perfect combination. It's a neat fact to know, though. I mean, that I saw you on Instagram, and you had your face next to this absolutely adorable dog, and all I could think about was my daughter. My daughter has been nagging everybody for a dog forever, and I'm like, oh my God, she would totally love this. I assume that you are either a pet owner or a dog lover. Which is it? Owner, lover, or both?
Yes. So I now consider myself a dog aunt, because my sister, she just recently fostered a dog, and now they're officially adopting her. But she adopted the most adorable pit bull. Her name is Miss Piggy. She's making her radio debut right now. Miss Piggy was saved from the streets of Puerto Rico. She was unfortunately mistreated and homeless and abused.
Oh, gosh.
And so my sister quite literally saved her life. They were going to put her down. But so it is my sister's dog. But my sister was like, hey, I'm going to Mexico City for like 10 days. Can you live in my apartment and take care of my dog? And I was like, that's the best thing you could have ever asked me to do. And so I became a dog owner, and she's just the sweetest little pup. I love her.
Oh, that's kind of what I figured. Yeah. I noticed that Instagram seems to be an extension of our personal lives nowadays, because I literally put everything that's on my mind,
for better,
either on Facebook or Instagram. It's nuts. I mean, it's like welcome to your world, literally in pictures, so to speak. I thought that was adorable.
Yeah.
And you have to tell me, you have a picture where you are in this dress, and it looks like there are brown embroidered pockets that are on them. I had to ask if that was homemade, or where you got that, because it's absolutely adorable. It like stood out like a big flag to me. Like,
cool?
This is adorable. Yes.
It was amazing. I was I did not design it myself. The woman who designed it, her name is Maggie Miller. She's actually a current student at NYU. But she is a designer and I think fashion student. But I was able to participate in this photo shoot, and one of the concepts was hers that she designed, and we were calling it the Maggie Miller concept, and she designed and created that dress and styled me. I just showed up and they put makeup on me and they told me to wear that dress, and I was like, okay, I got it. It was a really fun day. But yeah, it was a super cool outfit that I was so happy to be able to wear.
Well, and folks, if you've not ever seen her, she's got the long hair, she's got the pretty dresses, she's got that look, that young, sweet, sincere look. So number one, the look is great. Number two, the voice is absolutely beautiful and very different from what you're listening to on the radio right now. Number three, I wanted to mention this. The artwork, we have to talk. I saw the cover art for Sadness, which is the song we're going to be playing today in a little while. Where did you get that? Because it's beyond beautiful. It's just breathtaking. I just fell in love with that, too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really wanted to make the Sadness artwork a bit more abstract and not just a basic picture of myself. I have a really wonderful friend and fellow Muhlenberg alumni. Her name's Helen Lazar, and she holds all of the titles. She is an actor, visual artist, model, writer. She just is everything, and she's so wonderful, and she has become a great friend of mine and kind of role model because she's a bit older than me. So I've looked after the way that she's handled herself, and she's so wonderful. But I know that she does sketch and tattoo design, and I've always loved the pictures that she's posted on Instagram. And so I reached out to her, and I was like, hey, Helen, I love all of the work that you post about, and we came up with that design together. And so I sent her a picture that had been taken of me, and I was like, would you be able to recreate this but as a sketch? And feel free to take some liberties. It doesn't have to look exactly like me. I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted there to be some distance between, Rachel Norman and this girl who she was drawing. And she came up with that, and it was the most beautiful thing. And the only direction that I told her was hey, model it after this picture, maybe add some flowers and use the color pink. And she just flew with it. And so I knew that it was perfect for the single because it kind of captures the nostalgic feel of the song, and how yes, it's called Sadness, but it's not sad. I don't like to think of it as a sad song. I like to think of it as a celebration, an ode. It's my personal ode to sadness. And so that's what I wanted the artwork to capture.
Sure, and you did very, very well. As a matter of fact, it's like I said, it's pretty breathtaking for somebody, especially. It just resonated with me so much, and I thought I at least have to ask that. And I know that you started off talking about this. Your EP, Resist. It's been out since April. I know that you wrote it at the age of 16. Now, my children are getting, or at least one of my children is about that age. He's going to be 15 this year, and I'm trying to picture him doing an album, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, I can't even get anybody else to get the damn phone to the YouTube. And I'm like, how do you do a whole album? So I'm like, she's either got to be very bored, very passionate, or very persistent, or something. So tell us the magic secret to being 16 and, writing an EP. Oh, my gosh. How do we do that? That's wow.
I mean, to be fair, I only wrote the intro when I was 15. I wrote the rest of the songs when I was in college. So between the ages of 18 and 21, I wanted to include the intro because I actually came across it, I think halfway through the process. but it kind of brought me back to like, you know, where I started and the place that I was in when I started pursuing these more artistic endeavors. And I feel like it creates a context for the rest of the music in terms of where I'm coming from when I'm speaking about these experiences, you know? And so yeah, it felt kind of full circle to include the intro in that. But yeah, it's a lot of those songs were written late at night when I couldn't fall asleep or as soon as I got home from hanging out with someone. And so they were all written at such dispersed times. And the way that we chose which songs would make it to the EP was I would just share them with my collaborators, and I would be like, hey, which ones are your favorite? And I did have to fight them on one of them. And actually Verified almost like didn't make the album, and it's just funny because like a lot of my friends and family say that one is their favorite, and so I'm like, thank God I pushed for that song because I really I knew that it would go over well. But yeah, in terms of writing it, that's definitely something I did on my own, just kind of at a random hour of the day. But with regard to actually like recording it and doing more of the production work, all of my school breaks, I would take road trips to Boston where my friends who did it with me were based because they went to school at Berklee School of Music. And so I would just road trip up to Boston, and we would have kind of like a music type retreat, and I would mooch off their student resources because why not, you know? But yeah, I somehow managed to fit it all into the span. But I mean, I stretched it out over 4 years, so I was able to keep my grades up while also putting it out.
Awesome. Well, speaking of wonderful music, I guess we should actually play something that you've done. Sadness was the one track out of all the ones that Hannah sent to me that kind of resonated with me. So if you would, give an intro into the song, and I'd love to be able to play it for the listening audience to hear.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Hey, I'm so excited that you guys are going to play it. And so Sadness is, like I mentioned earlier, it's my personal ode to sadness, and it starts out with just some vocal harmonies, and it's really centered around these vocal harmonies. It's not your traditional pop song, but I like to think that it encompasses more of like a soulful, poppy ballad that celebrates acceptance in how you're feeling, but learning that it's okay to not always be super happy, and that's okay, and there's also love all around you.
Nice intro. And with that, let's play it. Here is Sadness.
makes me feel alright.
Oh, look, what a surprise. It doesn't sound like you. Talk about a shock, right? I was like, oh, my God, the voice is, oh, my God. Wasn't that lovely, though? And it was a perfect song to play. It was the absolute perfect song to play because I was in that. Now, I don't want to forget to mention, August 12th, you are recording a live session where people can actually get a personalized message from you, Rachel Norman, correct?
Yes, they can through Least of All Recording Studio in New York. It's going to be really cool, and people are able to pre-order on the website. I can also provide the link. So that's coming up next week.
As a matter of fact, yes, I was just about to read all of your social media before I let you go. But I also want to mention, very recently, the music video I was talking about, Verify, was just recently released. And that is available on YouTube, which, of course, will let people know that as far as that goes. Also, I was checking your website today. Is there any upcoming events or gigs or any place that people can come and watch you perform live, like me when I come to New York? Because I'm there all the time.
Oh, amazing. Yes, absolutely. So my show did just happen at the Delancey this past Friday, but I am currently in the process of booking my next show. I think it should be like early October I'm shooting for, but it'll be at some venue probably in the East Village in New York. So I will be posting more details about that as they come through.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to read off like about 87 places to find this girl. And in case you just tuned in, you just missed a lovely interview with this beautiful girl by the name of Rachel Norman. I'm going to read off all these places. When I get done, just let me know if I've forgotten anything, okay?
Wonderful.
The website itself, here we go. It's www.rachel, and that's RACHEL -Norman, NORMAN.com. She is also on the big three, Facebook and Instagram are both Rachel Norman Music, and Twitter, which is Rachel, but it's Norman with 3 N's. So it's Rachel Norman, so NORMANNN, and then also for her music, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and both Amazon and Apple Music. Did I miss any place? Anything, any other place where people can find you?
No, that seems to be the full shebang of socials.
Awesome. Now, before I let you go, I only have one more question, because on this show, because you probably have never heard my show, you always, you won't know this, but I'm about to tell you, everybody that comes on my show always gets surprised. I always leave someone better than I find them. That's kind of like my hashtag or my line, which is leave a person better than you find them. So this is what I want to say to you, Rachel Norman. There's 1 or 2 things I'd like to see happen in the near future. I'm making a movie, and that beautiful song I just played would be perfect within the course of it. It's called 100 Looks of Love, and that would be lovely to use. Now, on the flip side of the fence, I'll have you think about the other alternative, which is I literally just started casting cabaret, burlesque, and one-woman and man shows. So if you're interested, this would be your open-door invitation to meet me in New York City whenever I get back there in the next month, and be part of one of my shows.
I would absolutely love to audition or participate in any way you would like. Thank you so much.
I love it. Yay, that's wonderful. All right, I will be in touch after the show because I have another musician, another beautiful musician, but I can't thank you enough for the time and coming on and sharing a bit of your life with us. I will be in touch. I'll let you know, and we can hopefully get one, if not both of those things together. I just appreciate your being patient and coming on the show today. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was so wonderful speaking with you.
Thank you.
And I look forward to keeping in touch.
Definitely, Rachel. You have a wonderful evening. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, that was the beautiful and talented Rachel Norman. One more second. I'm going to go ahead and reread all of this before we put the beautiful Betti Mac online with us. Again, her name is Rachel Norman, and the website, www.rachel, that's RACH-Norman.com. On Facebook and Instagram, it's Rachel Norman Music. On Twitter, it would be @Rachel, and that's NORMANNN. And then all of her music on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Music. So again, thank you, beautiful Rachel, for your time and for you making such a wonderful effort to come in and share a bit of your life with us. Now, without further ado, the lovely and talented Betty is waiting for us, so let's get her on the line and start interview number 2. Betti Mac. Hi.
Hey. Hi, how are you?
Hi. Very nervous. 2 musicians in one day, both are female, both are pretty and talented. How would you feel? Pretty damn scared. That's what I would say.
I was checking out I was checking out your Facebook page, and you're just as beautiful as you sound.
Oh my gosh, listen to this. In fact, folks, she friended me like a half an hour ago. Like literally, she sends a friend request. So I'm like, oh, it's Betty, the person that's coming on my show. Trick though, it's Betti Mac, but it's also Beth McFarland. So it's like kind of a trick.
Yes,
like
that's my
names.
government name. Yeah, it's my real name.
So in case you kill someone, like in case she's guilty of a crime or she wants to hide something, it said, we're on to you, Betty. So I have to tell you that number one, I am probably at this time in my life, I'm not a very happy person. I'm going through a very sad time in my life, and I won't lie to you. I listened to your song twice today in the house just to cheer me up. I was literally dancing in my kitchen and dancing in my living room, and I was excited. I'm like, I love this song. And we'll get into your song. But you need to know that you effectuated that. You effectuated a bit of emotion today for me. So, no, I'm actually thanking you because a person can only cry so much. And then eventually you're like, okay, now I'm not going to cry right now. I'm going to feel better by dancing. Dancing is like the thing. It's either dancing or drinking. And I don't feel like wine yet. So I'm like, no, we're not going to do the wine thing. Let's do the dancing thing. And we had a show. So I'm like, okay. And you make me nervous. So I had to prepare. There's a lot. Wait, you're about to find out. Okay, so she's New York City girl number 2. So you're my number 2. But ironically, I want to talk about you being born in Jamaica. So these are my inputs before we ask Betty. I went to Jamaica once. I got married to my ex-husband, and he said, let's go to Jamaica. This is what I can tell you about Jamaica. Hot, passed out, ended up with the doctor coming to see me. The rum is absolutely awesome. Oh, God, yeah. I ended up passing out. I was like, oh, my God. Jamaica is beautiful. Like we went to one of those.
Where were you? You were.
We went to Ocho
You got
Rios.
overheated.
Yes, I definitely got overheated.
You were in the sun. You were staying in the sun too much.
Yes, I was, and drinking a little too much rum, and then playing tennis.
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
The liquor and the sun will do that to you.
Absolutely.
You can't mix both. You can't mix both.
Oh, it's so different.
You have to be. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm curious to ask you this question, okay? Because everybody there looks so amazingly comfortable and non-stressed, like 24/7. And I'm like, either they're drunk or high all the time, and I know I can say that because this is an adult show, or they just don't give a shit. Like, you know what? We've reached that part in our lives where we're happy.
It's the laid back lifestyle, really, from the Caribbean. That's what it is, really. Or as you say, they're high or drunk.
Exactly. And sometimes, substances are not the worst thing in the world, but I was like, oh my God, don't these people ever get stressed out? Because when you're in New York, right? You see how people are, right?
Yes.
It's intensity
Yes.
24/7. And you go to Jamaica, and it's like, whole nother world.
That's
Absolutely.
what my friends say, that being in New York for so long, I am still too laid back because I born there, I grew up there. I came here when I was an adult, so it's in me. It's like it can't. There's like, you're too laid back to be living in New York. I was like, it is what it is. I get it done, though. It might take me a little longer than usual, but I get it done. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Oh, sure.
So,
sure. Yeah. I think one of the things that I find most curious to ask you is, do you ever miss that? Because if that's the way of living there, I imagine it's a whole world different than where you are right now. So do you ever miss it and say, I want to go back, or do you even have time to go back and visit?
Well, the thing is, when you have something or you've had it for so long, you take it for granted. It's kind of like that with people in Jamaica. The island is so beautiful and all this is going on, and they just take it for granted. So I'm thinking, no, I don't really miss it that much because I've had it all my life, and here is a different way of it's different, and I embrace different. So, I don't mind. I haven't been here that long, but I've been coming to New York since 1996. Then I left and I came back in 2001, and I've been here ever since. So I can't say, maybe if I was here longer, but, and then as I said, I came here as an adult. So I am used to back home, and I know everything about back home. So I miss it probably a little bit here and there, but not too much. I like it in New York.
Well, I'm curious to also ask you, where did you, I'm listening, and I want to say that you have a mix of a Jamaican and a New York accent. Does that make sense? Because if you stay in New York long enough, you definitely get an accent.
Yeah, because people tell me I don't sound Jamaican because my dad is from England, and so we had to speak the Queen's English back home. So even when I was there, they used to tell me that I don't sound Jamaican, but it's okay. But it's people tell me that I sound English or I sound a mixture of, but my accent is not just a straight Jamaican accent. It's mixed.
It's a cool mix, I can tell you that. It's nice to listen to. I was like, oh my gosh, she could do audiobooks like hello, and you get that sound in your voice. It's very, very cool.
I actually do telemarketing on the side, and they love people who say, you have such a beautiful phone voice. People always tell me that. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I do. I people tell me that all the time. Or maybe it's because I sing. I don't know why, but, yeah, it is what it is.
It could be.
I'm happy, though, and it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. And I also noticed that you, like most of us creatives all have to have like 17 day jobs. And why? Because we go broke if we only do one thing. Because, writers don't make crap, actors don't make crap. We're like, yeah, we're a creative and we're broke, but that's okay because we love what we do, which is very true. So, like in this case, I know one of your side gigs is, okay, so this lovely lady is a fitness instructor. So whenever I hear this word, because I just turned 50, and all I can think of is I'm
congrats.
50, I'm short, and no. It's not congrats. It's I'm short, I'm fat, I'm losing my hair, everything is drooping. And then I'm like, oh great, I get to interview a fitness instructor. Yay.
Oh, no.
When
I meet you in New York City, I will certainly give you some personal training.
Oh, my gosh. I love this whole fitness bit. People have been telling me for years, and I guess that's one question I want to ask you to tell your audience. As a fitness instructor, I think there's a stigma, and I'm myself is included in this. Whenever I hear of fitness, I think, oh, my God, I got to be in the gym for 12 hours. I got to do this. I got to do this.
Oh, no. It's a myth. You don't have to be. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, I'm curious to ask you to those of us like me, for instance, that avoid the gym like a plague because, of course, everyone there is thin and pretty and don't even look like they need a gym. But when it comes to fitness, overall being a fitness instructor, why is it important for us to stay fit at any age, really? And does it always have to be, like the big stigma is everything in your life has to change to be fit. You know what I mean? Like we have to do blah, 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 like 75 things. Okay. So tell us why it's so important to be fit, for one.
Even if you're skinny, it's important to exercise. The body was made to move. So it doesn't matter whether you're fat or slim, you need to exercise. You need to move your body. Even if it's just walking, it's a form of movement. So you don't have to be in the gym like 12, 10 hours or whatever they say. You just have to incorporate it in your lifestyle, an everyday lifestyle. And you don't have to be 10, 12 hours in the gym. You could be even half an hour in the gym if you know exactly what you're doing and follow, whether you have a trainer or you're doing it online or however you're doing it, just follow those steps. And just to let everyone know, your nutrition and the fitness, meaning exercise, go together. No matter how much you work out, if it's even 7 days, 24/7, whatever you put in your mouth is very important. And if you work out that much and you don't watch what you eat, how you eat, and when you eat, it's not going to work. So the nutrition is very important. What you put in your mouth is very important. When you put it and how much you put. So just remember that both of them go hand in hand. It has to work. The both of them go together.
I knew you were going to say that. See, all of my hopes and dreams of eating like junk for the rest of my life are slowly going out the window. Between you and my doctor, you're making my life hell. Thanks, Betty. Appreciate that. I have to eat well and I have to exercise a lot. Yay.
It can be fun.
Sure.
Don't dread it, because once you dread it, you're going to mess up. Don't dread it. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, I intend. I actually do, despite my constant complaining, because I complain about it constantly. I have been to the gym before, and I have been. I've told people this in my life, especially the close ones. I have been walking every day lately. I had a TIA years ago, and then I've had another scare, and so I've been really, really on a strict diet that I've been trying to keep to as much as I can, and I have been walking every day. So, I'm making strides. It's just a matter of, I think the gym just scares most of us because everyone there looks better than we do. They're not 50 and short and fat.
The thing
and
is, you don't have to. The thing is, unless it's range or something like that, but you don't have to go into the gym every day. You can just walk 1,000 steps every day. You don't have to go into the gym every day, because a lot of people don't like going to the gym. They have this new program called the Miro. I don't know if you've heard of it. And you do it at home, and it's like a Miro, and it shows you what you're doing. You put it up on the wall, and it's a new thing. You have to Google it, and they will explain to you more how it works. But what I'm saying is, the gym is an option, Dizzy. You don't have to go into the gym to work out. There's so many things you can do to work out. So that is not an excuse when people say, oh, I don't like going to the gym. But you don't have to go to the gym. You can work out without going to the gym. So, don't make that a lot of people make that as an excuse that they don't like to go into the gym because everybody looks good there, this, that, and the fourth. Okay, well, you don't have to. Work out at home or go to the park, walk. Start somewhere, you know what I mean? So you don't have to go to the gym to work out. That's what I tell my clients. You don't have to. Right. You can work out anywhere, where it's convenient.
Gotcha. So much for having an excuse. Great. Thanks a lot, Betty. Now it's one step closer to the stupid gym. Great. Just so you know, folks, she's also just as I am. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead. You go ahead.
That's okay. I'm a smart aleck. I can tell you that also one of the things I want to ask about, I know obviously I've been certified in CPR as well, and I know you hold a number of different certifications. One of which is, of course, including Zumba. We don't get to talk much about that, and I've heard a lot of things that's becoming wildly popular. Tell your listening audience a bit about Zumba and some of the benefits of it, because frankly, I know nothing about it, but I hear that term on a pretty consistent basis. So I guess that means that that's either a new trend or something.
Well, Zumba is a name that they give Latin dance, and I've been teaching Latin dance for longer than the name Zumba came along. I teach Caribbean cardio, and Caribbean cardio comes under 3 types of dances, which is Zumba, reggae, and soca. So I teach those 3, which is basically dance, but different types of dance. That's all it is. And dancing is fun. So when you're dancing and you're working out and you feel the type that you're playing the great sounding music and you're dancing and you're having fun, learning new dances and stuff like that, you forget you're even working out, and that's where the fun comes in. And couple of months later, you're looking, greater than ever, and you're like, wow, because you're having so much fun dancing and whatever. You're not realizing how much weight you're losing and getting into shape. And by the time you turn around, you're like, hey, look at my body. So dancing, Zumba, whether it's soca or reggae, it's fun. Dancing is fun. And for those people who don't like to dance, I'm sorry for them, because dancing is fun.
I know, right? Yes. Now, if only, you could have made my day if you had said to me, you know what, Cindy, I know how to ballroom dance. You would have made my millennium, because I need to learn I need to choreograph a waltz. My partner and I are doing a movie together.
I can ballroom dance, but not. I've never taught it before, actually, but I can ballroom dance.
Look at that. Yeah, we have to learn. We have to choreograph a waltz, and we both know how to dance, but when it's in a movie, it's a little bit different. We have to look like Astaire and Rogers, and I'm like, we're pretty good at that, but I'm kind of like, I'm not sure anybody's going to believe us unless we have the technical training. So, I guess we'll have to keep on the search, which is just fine, because I'm excited. Now, that sort of dance excites me.
Have you ever danced Zumba before?
No. In fact, one of the things that I'd like to try to do is to go outside of my comfort level and maybe try some of the other dance forms that I've never done before. I think it's very healthy to try things that
try
make
new
you a little
things.
nervous. Absolutely,
Yes.
because it's all part of your
Absolutely.
repertoire, like the life repertoire. Like try this and try that.
Exactly.
So it's on the list.
Exactly.
Make no mistake. Oh God, yeah. I have a running list of all the things that I haven't done yet that I plan to do.
You
and
have
I'll
a
tell you,
bucket list,
fitness
huh?
really isn't one of them. But fitness really isn't on there. Did I say that again? Oh yeah, I think it did. Sorry. Speaking of fitness, though, I think this is so cool. You literally, along with a slew of other performers, performed along the New York City Marathon course. How badass
I did that for
is
2 years.
that? How
I
did
did
you
that
get
for
involved with that?
Well, actually, I got it through Reverb Nation. You know, they send you gigs and stuff like that. Yeah, I got it through Reverb Nation. I did it for 2 years, and I have the video on YouTube. You can check it out. It's on YouTube under my name, Betti Mac. If you go to YouTube, type in Betti Mac, or for those listeners, if you type in Betti Mac, I spell Betty with an I, which is BETTIMAC. Go to YouTube and type that in, and you will see the New York Marathon 2015. That was the last one. I did 14 and 15, and that was the last one that I did. And check it out. And for those who are listening, and for you too, Cindy, subscribe to my YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the New York City Marathon is one of those things that's a landmark, basically. So when somebody gets the privilege to be participating in something like that, that's got to be a big thing for you. And well, and not only that, how do you perform? Like, were you literally performing as the marathon's going on? Because I'm trying to picture this in my head. I'm like, how in the hell is she doing this?
Yeah, if you go to my YouTube, you'll see the video of me performing and the runners running by. Yeah, and the bystanders watching. Yeah, if you go to the YouTube video, you will see it all there. You'll see it, and then you'll see what it's all about. But yeah, I do perform. It's on the side of the street, basically. And usually we get the connections from the participating merchants from where the location is. They usually give us, beverages or electricity. They participate. We all participate in the New York Marathon. The merchants that have the businesses there and the performers.
That's really
so
cool.
It's a community thing.
That's
It's a community thing. So it's really cool.
Oh, I imagine. And I saw here, I made a notation. I know that you went to business college, Duff's Business College, and you majored in marketing.
Yeah, I did business management. Yeah, and marketing. Yes, I did business management and marketing.
I want to know how it is, if that prepares you in some ways, because when you leap into doing something like music at the very beginning, let's say you don't have an agent right away or a publicist right away, and you're first managing yourself, did you having this background help you at all in terms of making yourself a little more known before you went on and hired somebody? Would you advise another musician and say to them, hey, learn as much as you can from the business and marketing aspect before delving into something like this? Meaning music or any kind of artistry.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Any type of college really helps you. I had 2 years of college. I did drop out to pursue my music, and I have 2 years experience. So I did. It did help me really. It helped me from learning, just the business side of it. And a lot of new artists that comes along, they don't understand the business side. It's really technical and it takes up a lot of time.
Oh, sure.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, and with all my other 20 jobs, it's a hustle.
it's a juggling act, isn't it? It's crazy. I don't think people realize how many balls you have in the air all at one time, and you're constantly having to make sure everything is balanced and you're paying enough attention to everything clearly.
Exactly.
And then in your particular
especially
case,
when you don't have a manager. Yeah.
Oh, my God. And you also happen to do not only original music, but you also do cover music. So I don't know a lot of musicians that do both, because nowadays it's either all original or all cover. So here's my question on that. Do you find it more complicated to, some people like to really reproduce a cover as best as humanly possible. We all want to be like the original, of course. So do you find it harder to creatively tackle making a cover as close as possible, or is it easier for you to just say, you know what, I'm rolling with all the originals because they're mine, etc.? Which do you prefer to do and why?
I like to mix it up. I like to do both, but to do someone else's song is more challenging because you want it to either sound like them or better. You know what I mean? You can't come less than what they sound like, and if you do, you're not going to get good results from it. So it's challenging doing someone else's song because you, as I said, you want to do better or at least sound like them. Or some people take it and make it their own, and sometimes that turns out to be even better. Sometimes when you do someone else's song and you do better than them, that's you know, that's a good thing. So it's more challenging to do someone else's song, but doing my original, I get to do it my way, how I want it to sound and everything. So it's easier to do original for me than to do someone else's song.
I've gotcha. Now, just out of curiosity, most musicians will have either vocal warm-ups or their own standard practices as it relates to performing. Is there a ritual of sorts, let's say, that you have, whether you perform live, whether you're recording, etc., anything that's basically part of your repertoire in terms of preparation for making music?
My preparation really is, when I'm doing original music, I listen to different sounds, different beats, and the one that resonates with me is the one that I usually the lyrics just flows. Once I like the beat, the lyrics just come to me just like that.
Sure.
Wow. It's a blessing, but that's how it is. And for me to be doing someone else's song, it's usually a song that I like and I keep hearing over and over and I keep singing it over and over. And once I'm in the studio and it hits me and there's a beat that it fits, I'll just sing it. It has to be a song like I've been listening to it for a while and I really like it and I keep listening to it over and over and over. And so it's just in my heart. And once I hear a beat that fits it, then I just sing it. And that's how that happens.
Speaking of songs, now you have got to do an introduction because I want to play your song, of course. I picked Billionaires out of all the ones that you sent me just because that's what I was listening to earlier. So I want you to do an intro into that so that people know what the song is about, and then, of course, I'll play it so they can get a feel for it themselves. Tell them about that because it is a really, really cool, very neat song. It truly is.
Billionaires, right?
Yes.
Billionaires.
Yes.
So you want me to talk or you want me to sing the intro?
Yeah, I'm about to play it. I was just going to say I'm about to play the actual song. I have the recording. So if you could just do a description for your listening audience. What's the song about or what's the motivation or what is it all about?
Great. A good question. So the song is Billionaire is really motivated, just to motivate people to strive for more than just being a millionaire because it's so easy to be a millionaire these days. You can strive and you can get to be a billionaire. So basically that's where it's coming from. Just reach higher. Just reach your goals. Just go for it. And so I'm saying in the song, live your life, music is life, life is music. Just live your life and be happy and don't worry about what the haters think. You know what I mean? Exactly. So this is Billionaires. It's a fusion song mixed with reggae vibes and pop beats. So it's a mixture and it's fun. It's a fun song, and I want people to be happy when they listen and dance to it because it's a dance song, and I love to dance.
Of course.
So I longed. This is the first fusion song that I've done like this, and I'm so happy because I wanted to do a dance song for so long. Not dancehall, but just like a pop song, just like this. And it's a dream come true. And I really appreciate all the love and accolades I've been getting on it.
It's enjoyable. It truly is. I think you folks will like it. So without further ado, I'll stop talking about it and I'll play it for you. You guys can listen to it. This is called Billionaire.
Billionaires.
Live your life. Free and be free. Live your life and be free. It's a new day. It's got a rocket swing. This is the beat day. With a funky rocket swing.
Now do you see why I was dancing around my house? Hello? I mean, did you listen to this song? It's like, oh, my gosh, it's a little difficult to just sit here and be like, oh, my gosh. I know that as of May 31st, which is almost the beginning of June, so not that long ago, you released the EP Beth McFarlane. 7 tracks on it.
Yes.
That, of course, is inclusive of one of the 7 tracks. So, because
right, that was a single.
Time, well, oh, yeah, that's right. Tell me how things have been going. I mean, what's the audience vibe been like? How have you been feeling about the work that you produce, and how is it being embraced by an audience?
Oh, everybody's telling me they love this, especially Billionaire, because it came out first. It came out on the 17th of May. Came out before the EP itself, and there's 7 songs on the EP. So the Billionaire came out first, and everybody loved that song. And big up to Mike. Big up to Mike from Behind the Curtain, media.com, and Hannah from working with me on getting it out there, and they're just great. I work with them, and they help me a lot. And I've been getting great feedback. Great feedback from Billionaires, from the entire EP. There's 7 songs on there, and I've been getting great feedback. But I would like people to just go to my website, download it, purchase it, whatever you do. Just the support is really, as an indie artist, I really appreciate all the support I've been getting, really, and I've been getting good feedback on the EP, especially Billionaire.
Well, right, and it's tough, of course, for indie artists in general. We talk about this on my show all the time. It's the number one reason I interview indie artists of all kinds, is because they don't get enough attention. They don't get enough media. They don't get enough people that recognize and realize who they are. That reminds me, I wanted to ask you, do you have upcoming live performances? Because I was trying to hunt around and see where you're going to be next, at what point you're doing something live, where people, if they enjoy the music, can come out and watch you.
Well, I am trying to get more gigs as we speak, but I don't have anything coming up maybe until October. I think I'm looking at October, November. I think I'm looking at, but it's not confirmed, so I can't really say much. But whatever it is that I'm going to be doing, it's definitely going to be on my website. And my website is BettiMacEntertainment.com, which is Betty, I spell Betty with an I, BETTIMAC, entertainment.com. If you go to my website, you can get all my upcoming, where I'll be performing, and I do post it on my Facebook. Also, my Facebook is Betty.Mac at Betty. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. In fact, I was literally just going to read all of these off. As a matter of fact, you read my mind.
Thank you.
I have a listing of about 15 different places where people can find you, so I just want to be sure once I read everything. Well, you know what? That's the job of a researcher, though. Like when you're a journalist, one of the things you do when you get up in the morning is, okay, so now I got to get ready for the show today. I literally had to watch every single thing. Like I watched music, I looked at this, I looked at that, so I wanted to be thorough. So I'm going to read everything off.
And hey, my dad was a journalist in Jamaica. So I really do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my dad was a journalist, and he used to lecture at the University of the West Indies. So my dad was a journalist.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool. Oh, now, hey, wait, before I read off this list, I got to ask this question. Because, there might be somebody who's trolling around on my Sims Chat Corner radio page today and sees a look at you and says to herself, okay, she's single. Okay, so just explain to us why you're single. And if so, are you mingling? Because I'm sure there's New York City boys listening right now. They're like, how do we find Betti Mac? So what are you looking for, Betti Mac, since you're single? What's going on with that?
What am I looking for? Wow. I am looking for someone who can make me laugh, basically.
Ah, good answer. There's something to be said. A man who can make you laugh.
Someone with a sense of humor that can make me laugh.
Yes, women are beautiful when they laugh.
Yes, yeah. You make a woman laugh, the whole world's laughing.
That's exactly 100%. Amen. There you go. So, folks, just make sure that you make her laugh, and you can deal with a woman who can sing and sing and sing. Okay, now I feel better. So here we go. It's www. And that's Betty BETTI Mac MAC entertainment.com. Now here's the other 50 ways to find her. She is on the following. She is on LinkedIn, Apple Music, YouTube, Reverb Nation, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Amazon, Facebook. She has a personal page with her name, of course, Betti Mac, and also her professional page, which again it's Betti, Betti, Mac, MAC, and then music. And then on Twitter it's at Betti, then underscore MAC. Anywhere else where people can find you.
Well, you did it all. I really appreciate you for what you do.
Well, I try. The last thing I wanted to say to you before I let you go, because now I have about 800 movies I have to watch tonight. I'm a movie. I just had my film festival, and I have been also asked to be a screening judge for another festival. So I have to sit here and literally watch movies.
Oh,
wow,
great!
Probably
Congrats.
make me cry more. Well, I mean, it's a fun thing, but I just did my own film festival for 5 days. So I've spent 5 days watching movies. So I'm like, yay, kind of, sort of. I'm excited about that. You know what I mean?
I'm so familiar with movies because I used to have my own business for 10 years. I used to have a video club, something like Blockbuster. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's so I'm into movies also, and
Well, then you know what I've got to do all night. I'm like literally me and the TV are my best friend. Me, the couch, and the TV are my best friend tonight, which isn't the worst thing in the world because I get to do it in pajamas. Not just similar to the radio interview today. Yes, that's right. I get to work in pajamas when I feel like it, folks. So I wasn't sure if you caught my last interview, but if you did, then you know that I am infamous for leaving people better than I find them, which means I always have a surprise for my guests. So first of all, Betti, let me say to you, yes, it is. I want to say, anytime you want to come back on my show, you're more than welcome. I come to New York City once a month, so I'm more than happy to meet with you because I just think you're extraordinary. I like the vibe, and I like the colorful creativity. Just there's just something about you, which is lovely. And you'd be wonderful with a gentleman friend of mine who's an actor, who's also single, by the way. But we'll get into that off the air at some point. But this is what I want to offer you because I've already raved about your little song Billionaires, and there was more than one reason I listened to it a few times today, and that is because you may not know this, but I am also making a movie, and in the course of the movie we have this wonderful scene where we have these people in a dance club, etc. And I thought, what better song to play in a movie than Billionaires? So I think when I come to New York, we should talk about putting your music into my movie, if that's okay with you.
Okay, that's great. I would love that.
Wonderful. It's like a girl date. Yay! Fat and 50 years, got a girl date with a fitness instructor who's not going to make me work out or go to a gym. That's the deal. No gym. That's the deal, Betti Mac. Otherwise, the deal goes off the table.
We will just play Billionaire and dance right there on the set.
That is exactly right. You bet. That's exactly right. Now, you just missed my trip. I was just in New York, and I just came back home to Wisconsin. I go back and forth all the time. So if I'm not in town at the end of the month, I know that I am coming close to Fashion Week, so I'll definitely be there in September. So let's make a date to get together, of course. Absolutely, without a doubt. And feel free to come back on my show anytime you like. You've been an absolute delight. It's been great.
Okay, great. I really thank you for doing what you do with indie artists. It's really needed, and thank you. Thank you. On behalf of all of us, thank you.
Oh, my hat is off to you, my young lady, and I will see you in the very near future in New York. We'll make some beautiful music together.
Great. I hope so, too. I hope to see you soon.
All right. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Thank you very much, Cindy.
Anytime. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that those weren't two fabulous females. So first of all, once again, I want to say my deepest thanks to both Rachel Norman and Betti Mac. First of all, because they've been so patient, and second of all, because they are so very same but different. As I mentioned in the very short description I had today, there's something so unique about female talent, and it's not to say that there's anything better or worse female versus male. What I can tell you is one's young, one's a little bit older, one's got a reggae sound, and one has more of a jazzy sound. What they both have in common is that one link, which I always like to see, which is they love doing what they do. They love doing it in the manner and means by which they see fit and on their own terms, and they still manage to make an impact upon their community, even though they may feel that they're building and not as big as they'd like to be. They've made quite the impact, if nothing else, on myself and hopefully on you, the listening audience. I do not want to forget to do this because, of course, if it wasn't for the beautiful and talented Hannah, I would not be able to say that I could have these guests on my show. So from me to you, Hannah. Hannah is with Behind the Curtain Media. case you guys haven't checked it out, it's music promotion, www.behindthecurtainmedia.com. Hannah, I have to say, has probably been one of the most compliant and understanding and compassionate and just lovely individuals to work with. So her first name is Hannah, last name is spelled Yando. That's Yando. If you're looking for somebody who is top-notch, truly professional, reliable, and just lovely, please look them up. Again, that's www.behindthecurtainmedia.com. And please tell me, Hannah, that I did right by you and your clients. I pray. Otherwise, she'll be yelling at me after the show. I'm just kidding. She doesn't yell, period. But, yes, Hannah, thank you for 2 wonderful interviews. That, my dear friends, is a wrap for this week. I know that you guys have missed my regular shows, and I promise you as of next week I am going back to my regular schedule. For any of you that are listening and that wish to schedule interviews, we're looking at September, probably mid-September at this point. And as I mentioned, the Sin Network will hopefully be launching at the end of November, beginning of December, so then you can actually watch me live. I think you folks are about 800% more excited about doing that than I am. On a personal note, before I leave, I know that there have been more than a few of you that have asked and wondered and are concerned about my posting. As I mentioned, I had the 5 days at the festival, and I've come from New York, and I am going to be deactivating for a while. I'm not sure how long this is going to go on, the silence, etc., but just I wanted to make mention of the fact that I think it's very lovely. So many of you have reached out and sent notes and messages, and I just want you to know that I am seeing what you have to say. I'm not blind. I'm just off the map for a while, but I appreciate all of your sentiments, and I appreciate your concern. Thank you so much to everybody for listening in today, and please check back in next week. We should be back on air, if I am not mistaken. In fact, let me look at my calendar right now. I can tell you that we are back on August 13th with the beautiful and talented Marie Picard. Marie Picard will be on at 12 Central Standard on August 13th. Marie happened to be one of the beautiful filmmakers who showed at this year's Art of the Live Film Festival. She had a lovely production that was done. It's basically still photography that was turned into a film called Still Life. So it's August 13th, Marie Picard and myself, 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. I hope you can join the both of us. You guys have yourself a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.